Last episode ended something like this. I JB welded my diff, but I couldn't start the engine because the starter motor is broken. If you look right here, down there, nothing is turning, even if I turn the key. And I had it also turning by knocking on the starting motor a couple of times, but this gear wouldn't move up. I went to a shop, but they couldn't get a new starter motor. The ones online were too expensive to save the engine, so I have two options. Either swap this 13 horsepower engine in or build my own starter. Long time ago I had the engine test fitted and the engine would reach out until here. So for now I think it's simpler just to build my own pull start. To build my own pull start I will use one of those pulleys and weld it to the engine. I got the starter motor removed from the engine and I hooked it up that the ground will be on the backing plate and the positive will go to this little bolt here. And what I hope will happen is that the starter motor goes up and spins. So let's see if something happens. Nothing. And just to see if there's actually juice. And I already googled the starter motor. There's no replacement for it, and the ones I saw which might fit, maybe not, they would take multiple weeks to arrive, plus I don't want to spend the money on it. So I'm gonna install a pull start instead, and then I can finally test my lawnmower and see if my JB welded lawnmower diff actually will last or not. I put the cover back on just to see how things fit. This is a nut. It fits on the thread, so I can thread it down, and then it's tied to the engine and removable. I will use this type of pulley. And you can see there's a lot of space here in between where the airflow still can go. What I will do is I will cut the pipe and weld it to the nut, and then I will make a little cut into the pulley so I can attach a rope which automatically flings off when I'm done pulling it. First of all, I cut the pulley. I cut it straight off, made it a little bit shorter, and then I took a nut. As you can see, one side is tapered, so now it fits perfectly in, and I can just double check, get the nut on. This one, give it a little whack, and this is how it will look. And that is actually looking pretty decent, I think. Now I'm gonna weld my nut. I'm quite happy with how it is right now. I can spin it easy and freely. So what I will do next is make a little notch in the top part of the pulley. So I can take my rope, put a knot on it, anchor it in the top, and then tie it around. When I then pull it, it will get free and then go out. It's gonna rotate this way. So I'm gonna make the notch like this. So first when it's pointing towards me, it can get out. Then I have a rope like this. And when I then pull, I guess that would work, right? Let's try this again. It's definitely gonna fly off. So this is my setup. As you can see, motor is back in, pulley fits. I will tie it up and try to start it. Not sure if it will. Let's see if I can get it started. I have my doubts. My pole cord is basically a metal pipe with a hole in it, and then a rope roughly this long. Should maybe have been longer. And yeah, I'm just gonna tie it up and see how that goes. I think the small pulley I made is simply too hard to pull, so I don't get up in speed. But just to make sure, this is a spark tester, so let's see if there's any spark when I pull it. So welded a nut on this pulley, and then I made a bigger version, which you can see in here. I also got a longer rope and changed the fuel filter because I have the feeling maybe there was not as good fuel flow. And as you can see, I fixed my exhaust. So what I did with the exhaust is that I realized there was a thread. So I bought a pipe with a thread and it fit. So as simple as that, I have an exhaust again. I just hope I don't break it if I do a wheelie. I also got some wheels, so now I can make a wheelie bar. And I should probably do that before I test try it with it again. Give it a little bit of juice. Getting there. That was loud. I mean, it runs, so that's good. But I think I will just put it together. And before I drive it, I will also install a wheelie bar because I think right now the only chance I have is to put it in gear and drive. And last time I flipped. So let's install the wheelie bar and I have to figure out how to do that. I already got started with the wheelie bars and I have one here. I basically cut a square tube in half, cut an edge out of it and welded a wheel on it. And this will go like that one. So it will go over the edge of the frame. There's a hole here because there's an original bolt over here, but it's not only gonna be held by the bolt, I'm also gonna weld it up. Then it's gonna look like this. And the angle should be roughly a 30-degree wheelie, which I think will be enough for now. I can always move this later or redesign the things quite quickly. But I think 30 degrees for my first wheelie bar, it's gonna be probably fine. So now I'm gonna put this one on, weld it as well, spray paint it so it doesn't rust, and take it from there. So I'm gonna weld my shaft. What I decided to do is only weld it to this frame, not to this plate, so I can still completely disassemble the entire frame. This will just be part of this now. So I think that's gonna be sturdy. I finished welding it, and this is how it looks. Check it out. 2 bars, and now let's check the angle. Should be roughly 30 degrees. I think that looks pretty good, pretty decent. It's definitely a wheelie if I come this high up. How high is that anyway? Is it like half a meter? Last but not least, before it starts rusting, I will just give it a little paint. Probably some gold, just because then it looks more ridiculous. What do you think? This is roughly the wheelie position it will go to. In the front, I measured 40 centimeters, which I think is pretty good. Of course, it could be more aggressive. The angle is roughly 30 degrees. It could be a bit more, but the backrest is also not that tall. And the lawnmower is sketchy enough. So for now, I will just leave it as is. However, right now it's dark. So I won't be able to record anything. So I will wait for tomorrow. But for you, it's gonna start right now. Bars saved my life. I lost the chain again, which is an easy fix, but I'm completely out of breath. It's the most crazy machine, most sketchy machine I've ever driven, and apparently I lost my battery. I mean, it was barely held together anyway. That thing definitely can do wheelies. I don't know if the camera picked it up, but there were plenty of times where I did some wheelies. Would I let anyone else drive this machine? Probably not, because it's so easy to fall off the machine make the machine flip sideways, crash into something because the brakes don't really work. I mean, you can actually start it quite well. The worst part is actually I have no idea how fast it will go. I think it can go 50-60 kilometers an hour. I only drove in second and third gear. Actually, most of the time only first gear. But let me just have a look if the pulley is still alive. It has some very pointy edges. My JB welded pulley, because that's gonna be interesting. I just took the belt off and I have good news. If you look here, it still looks brand new. I went for one size taller, so my clutch actually worked, which was really nice. The brakes were still a little bit iffy. I love that I put the wheelie bar, because especially when I don't drive on gravel, the harder surfaces and grass, I have grip, and in every gear change I make a wheelie, so that's quite crazy actually. But let's look at the pulley. I'm pretty sure this is the spot I JB welded up here. Yeah, I can feel the little edge, but it doesn't look half bad. I think I'm gonna leave this pulley. That's crazy. It looks completely fine. I mean, I didn't do massive amounts of driving. I think I drove in total 25 minutes, so close to half an hour, but the pulley is not warm. Works pretty good. I think it's different because it's also an idler pulley. The transaxle, let me see if that's still locked. So let's test it. If I lift this side, yeah. So it's kind of broken, not fully yet, which means that there's the gears inside and the contact between the gears broke. But since I glued the gears to the housing as well, there's only a little bit slack where the gears can move in between each other, but compared to the housing not. So I don't think I can actually turn it fully. It's just like a little bit of wiggle room. So do I have a LSD, a limited slip differential? Not really, not at all, but it's still kind of held together. So did it really work? No, welding is probably better. Just to show you, this box here, I glued the gears to the housing and then I assembled it and put some extra JB weld in between the gears. And I'm pretty sure that the glue between the housing and the gear still sticks, but not in between the gears. So let's just quickly talk about what went well, what didn't. Well, I actually like the aesthetics, so that I think is a plus. The throttle over here is actually quite nice and convenient. The clutch, when I push it all the way, the motor doesn't pull me forward, so the clutch works. Plus the belt is not grinding. It still looks basically brand new, so I think the alignment of the pulleys is pretty good. And my pulleys actually survived, which is kind of surprising. The brakes kind of work. The chain jumped off a couple of times. And the reason why it jumps off is I smash it into gear and then it wheelies and then the chain blows off. Half of the time I probably drove in first gear, 30% of the time in second gear, and 20% of the time in third gear. I still have 2 gears, but honestly, because it's so unstable, like, I feel being able to do this already shows that it's quite unstable. If I really want to go for a speed run, I should have a space where it can only go straight for a long time. I don't have that here. The wheelie bars, a great success. Honestly, best edition so far. The post start actually works. It's a little bit of a setup because you can't hold the throttle at the same time. The air filter was a quick print. It didn't fit perfectly, so it fell off. But with that, thank you so much for watching. And if you're still watching, maybe consider subscribing. I hope you enjoyed my wheelies, and goodbye.